Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature. Learn, grow, and take charge of your retirement. This is the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast with financial advisor Bryan Gaiser, founder of Gaiser Financial Group.
Bryan, something that you're obviously always doing for folks in the office. People are coming to you with their plans, looking for a second opinion. Where do I stand, Bryan? Does this really look good to you? How do you feel? How do you think? One of the reasons that I know people come to you is because perhaps they're not happy with their current advisor. They have been working with somebody maybe for a long time, but there are now lack of results, maybe poor customer service, among other things. For some, seeking another advisor's advice, it's a challenging step to take because maybe they're not sure if they really need to be doing it. And it's just one more thing on the list to do, Bryan. Like, we're all so busy as it is. So just put it on the list. So let's talk about, are there red flags that you believe people should be looking for, particularly if they are working with an advisor, that might signal, okay, it's time to talk to somebody else, get a second opinion?
You know, there are red flags. I think one of the biggest is communication.
Well,
right?
Yeah.
Where they communicate by emails and a combination with calling you and combination with meetings that you have relative to your overall assets and your goals. Some people, hey, I just need one meeting a year. I'm good. Sit down, just make sure I like to see you eye to eye. Let's move on. And then sometimes it might be just, if we need something quick and we want to do a Zoom, that's good. But at least know those options are available to you. Mm-hmm. At least know that you can call that office and say, hey, I need to meet with Bryan, or I need to at least do a Zoom, or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about some things coming up. Should I pay off my house? Whatever it may be. Once again, are we taking too much risk? Should we back off some? And you don't want to just ponder that. You want to ponder it with your advisor, making sure that that is a staple, if you will, in their business, which is really critically important. Right.
Yeah.
And I try to drive thought with some of the things we send out, especially via email or whatever it may be, and, newsletters. I want them to drive thought, not just be, here's what the market did last week. I don't need to tell you that.
Right.
That's pretty easy.
We all got Google.
I want to provoke some thought. Did I take, Social Security, am I getting the most out of it? Whatever it may be, right? I want to keep it simple, keep it on the simple, because the complexity is everywhere. You don't need me for complexity.
That's another thing, right?
You need to solve the complexity,
That's right. Simplify it.
So communication is huge, huge.
Okay.
And how you digest that. Do I feel like I'm in touch, Do they communicate me when things are ugly as well as good, not just good?
Yeah.
All of those kind of variables come into play.
Okay. Got it. All right. So lack of communication, obviously priority number one. Other areas that we need to be looking for and thinking about.
Just rebalancing the portfolio when it comes to managed is really, really critical.
Well, especially as we enter into retirement, because it's not that we want to remove all risk, but we do need to adjust our risk. And
you want to balance it to your situation.
For somebody that's been working with a growth advisor, I believe you've heard this from folks being like, I don't want this much risk, and he won't listen to me. He keeps saying, or you know what, if in the spring somebody came in much further down than they thought that they would be because they didn't realize their risk levels, and the advisor's like, it'll come back. That's not how we don't feel good in retirement hearing it'll come back.
What it is that advisor's right if they've set up the income right.
Okay.
So if you have surplus income in retirement, that's what causes you not to make these knee jerks. If you're depending too much on your growth portfolio for income, you've got a problem.
Okay.
So that's where that advisor went wrong in the first place. You don't want to depend too much. You want to always know that your income is much stronger than any market that pulls back. You know the income you have coming in more than satisfies your needs, that your money in the market, if you have market money and your other growth money, I don't need this money per se because I have more than enough income. Every month I have surplus coming in so I can put money in a rainy day bucket or in a vacation bucket. Does that make sense?
Yes, I want to reiterate something you just said. I think it's really important to you listening to the radio right now. Your income strategy should be stronger than any market pullback in retirement. I think that is a very poignant statement, Bryan. It makes sense when you say it so clearly, but I imagine a lot of savers and investors have not been told it so directly, so simply. That's such a baseline fundamental thing for a retirement plan. Your income strategy should be stronger than any market pullback.
And you're rebalancing, you should get a little notice, hey, we've rebalanced. And we look to rebalance monthly. Doesn't mean we do.
Okay.
It just depends on what the market tells us.
Okay.
And so my back office, that's how we're trained, is to rebalance when necessary, but check to rebalance monthly is the way we're structured. But in addition to that, going off of what you said there, if you knew you had an extra couple, 3,000 a month coming in, and it's always going to come in, that's an extra 24 to 36,000 a year. Just giving that as an example, you relax a lot more and you don't make knee-jerk choices. What I also try to do, and I think it's really critical, playing off of what you just said right there, I also look at when the market does pull back, that's a great time to buy.
Okay.
So we're looking for deals inside of your portfolio and looking for a company that may have pulled back way more than they should have. That's opportunity. So you want to make ugly times look good.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is this is opportunity time, not ugly time. Change that ugly to opportunity. So if you like opportunity when it's ugly, that's where you make your money, folks. I'm telling you, it's not just that consistency. It's that consistency that looks for opportunity when things are down a bit, but you just don't want to pull back too much either. You want to stay when you're in retirement, the growth is important, but growth through value means when the market does pull back, like the S&P pulled back about 30, 31 at one point during 22. Or value portfolios, most of what we've built was down about 11, 12, 13. You can deal with 11, 12, 13. It's that 30 that wears you down, right? It's that 30, and it's the real return that's important, not the average return. And a lot of folks don't think about it from that standpoint. Folks, if you're not taking advantage if you don't feel good about times when it is a little bit soft, the market, then you don't have the right advisor. Give us a call, 336-586-5861, 336-586-5861. I'll build you a portfolio and explain to you our methods, because we want you to look at markets that are a little soft and markets that are running. We want you to look at both of them as positives, not negatives.
Yeah.
It's just the thing is you want balance in those where you don't have too much risk, where your portfolio is not cut in half.
That's right.
During 22 or cut by a third.
That's right.
Pulling back about 10%, 12% compared to 30%.
That's right.
Is a huge difference because it takes a whole lot more to make it up. So that's what I try to express to folks when it comes to their growth side, and then have some safe growth side in there too. There's other ways where you can earn and grow your portfolio without all the risk as well. And it's a balance of those different instruments, Heather, that's so critical.
Got it. Well, and obviously you and your team here to help us figure out that balance and a plan customized to our goals. Again, that number to dial 336-586-5861. Give us a call right now. Put some time on the calendar to meet with Bryan and his team about a second opinion on your retirement savings and investments. It's 336-586-5861. All right. So we're talking about red flags to be looking for if we have been working with an advisor. Rule number one, you said, look out for a lack of communication. If you're not speaking on a level that you're comfortable with, maybe it's time for a second opinion. Also, not proper rebalancing and proper risk that we're comfortable with. Another area that you really prioritize at Gaiser Financial is the area of tax planning for our retirement.
Yeah.
So what do we need to be thinking about as far as a red flag? If we're asking about taxes and they're saying, I don't do that, maybe that's a red flag?
You got to look at taxes as a termite, and you got to extinguish it as much as possible, but you won't get rid of all of it. You
right,
know what
of
I mean?
course.
Chances are, sometimes you do. I'll take that back. Sometimes you can. I mean, if you're smart with Roth conversions and committing to Roths early on in life, because you'd rather take a hit on the seed, not a hit on the harvest.
Right.
You know, they'd say that that's what it's all about. And being smart with your money. But tax loss harvesting is basically in a nutshell, okay, you've got a non-qualified portfolio, and let me quickly identify that for you. It's not an IRA. So in other words, your IRA, until you draw out of it, you don't owe taxes. But non-qualified, you could owe taxes as you change that portfolio around over the year.
Okay.
Right? And so where tax harvesting comes in towards the end of the year, you've got some winners and some losers, and you're balancing the sale of winners and losers to eliminate your taxes or reduce it down to the bare minimum.
Okay.
And what that means is, I lost $10,000 on this stock trade here, but I gained $8 on this one. Well, you sell them both. Now you've got a $2,000 loss as opposed to an $8,000 gain. You see what I mean? It's the balance between those. I'm trying to explain it on a rudimentary level. And it's we have a system in place that's driven by software that identifies tax harvesting for our portfolios. And that's what I love. That's why I work with Advisory Alpha out of Holland, Michigan, and I work directly with them and allow them to do a lot of my trading because they have the right systems in place.
Yeah.
They think like I do, right? Okay. And I'd say they might even just be a little bit smarter than me because they do it all day long. But that being said, that's what it's about. So if you can save on taxes, that's just like money in your pocket, right?
Sure.
If you're not paying that tax, that's money in your pocket. Just by making a few different small moves. And a lot of people don't realize it's the small things that really build a portfolio. But you're never going to know, Heather, unless you give us a call. So, folks, 336-586-5861. We'll build a portfolio. We'll look at and try to find some areas. Just had a couple of folks in the other day, and they said, you know what? No one has mentioned to us anything about a Roth conversion. Our CPA never mentions this, never mentions about she is retired, but her husband could hire her because he has his own company. Why not hire her and get her to do a few things, then have her dump all her money into a 401k Roth because you're going to pay taxes on that money anyways. So you might as well, just little things that they could do differently because he works for himself and he could easily hire her. He can be given a big chunk of his money to a Roth instead of paying taxes on it. It goes in your regular account. So there were just ways that we were able to just small little changes that, why didn't our CPA tell us that? I said, because you're asking him during tax season or her during tax season, either or. I don't know if it's a male or female. But the point is, you're asking during tax season. They don't have time for that. They're not going to go into that discussion because they're words you're not going to understand what they're talking about. That's the kind of question you ask your CPA outside of tax season. Folks, give us a call, 336-586-5861. Be happy to sit with you. And go over your particular situation. I guarantee you I'll find at least one area of improvement that will be big improvement for you.
That's obviously the goal every time Bryan sits down with somebody in the office looking to help you improve your plan for the years ahead. Again, the number to dial 336-586-5861. You can also find us at gaiserfinancial.com, GAISER financial.com, or it's 336-586-5861.
Thanks for listening to the Wealth Through Wisdom podcast. To learn more, visit gaiserfinancial.com. Bryan Gaiser is an investment advisor representative of Advisory Alpha LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed by Bryan Gaiser are solely his own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This recording is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Advisory Alpha LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance, coaching, and educational services offered through Gaiser Financial Group. Gaiser Financial Group is a separate and unaffiliated entity of Advisory Alpha LLC. While tax and legal services may be discussed in the general course of financial and investment planning, Advisory Alpha does not provide tax or legal services. Please consult with your tax or legal professional prior to making decisions related to these issues. This material is not endorsed or approved by the Social Security Office or any other government agency. An annuity is a long-term financial product designed largely for asset accumulation and retirement needs. All guarantees are backed by the claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. All opinions expressed by externally cited sources are solely their own opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Advisory Alpha. This is for informational purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. The case studies presented reflects the specific circumstances of one client and should not be considered a guarantee that another client or potential client may experience the same or certain level of results. This is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as investment investment recommendations or solicitation. Names have been changed to protect the anonymity of clients and are not testimonials in nature.